Keep mentioning for 23 ABC, and joining me today is Buzz Osborne, guitarist, vocalist for the legendary band the Melvins. The Melvins are playing Temblor Brewing Company in Bakersfield September 7th, and tickets are on sale now. Having been together for nearly 40 years, have the Melvins played in Bakersfield before?
We have played there a number of times. I can't remember the first time. I believe we played there once at some kind of arena with Tool.
Okay.
But we've done our own shows, I don't know, 6, 7 times probably.
Okay.
Here and there. We played the brewery once before, probably right I think right at the beginning, right before the pandemic.
Okay.
Right before the world ended. And then we sat around it doing no live shows for 2 years, but we did make a lot of records in that amount of time. So that was good.
Yeah, I saw that you guys have been pretty prolific in that regard.
Yeah, we made 3 online streaming shows during that. We did a 4-album acoustic record that we reimagined a bunch of Melvin songs, and I did a solo album acoustic record called Gift of Sacrifice, and we did a Melvin's record called Working with God. All came out, all that same, plus a lot of other limited edition stuff and whatnot.
What was the experience like doing the acoustic album, trying to kind of strip everything down?
That was great. I would imagine what songs we could do, and then bring them in the next day, 3 or 4 songs, and we would run through them acoustically, and then by the end of the day, we'd have somewhere between 2 and 5 songs recorded. And we did that, thinking, not sure how long the record was going to be, and then you go, 1 record's not long enough. 2 albums, everybody does double albums. 3, well, if you can do 3, you might as well round it up to 4. So 36 songs, 2.5 hours. I think it came out really great. We struggled very a lot and worried over the vocals a great deal on that record, and I'm very proud of it. And hopefully someday we will go out and do an entire tour where we just do acoustic stuff. But this time around, since we haven't played in a couple years, on the touring we're doing this year, we decided that electric was the way to go. So
I also read in a Spin article that you're a big fan of Buck Owens. What about his music resonates with you?
Well, I think Buck Owens is very progressive. I think a lot of country music fans gave him crap because of that. He wasn't as traditional as they would have liked, even though he was fully capable of doing that sort of thing. He expanded out and did a lot of odd sounds on records, like fuzz guitar and a bunch of things that and songs like Memphis that maybe a lot of country people thought was too rock sounding. And even I think at the Live at Carnegie Hall record, they did Twist and Shout after the Beatles covered his cover of Act Naturally. But I think his stuff, him and Don Rich, were 2 of the best quote unquote country music artists ever. And I read a thing with Buck that when Don died tragically, that he never got over it. That was his partner. I think that's true. They sing amazing together. They wrote amazing music and performed amazing music. And Buck, not only would he be one of my favorite country artists, he's one of my favorite artists by far, without question. Easily, I would say my favorite artist from Bakersfield.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Hopefully he's everybody's favorite artist from Bakersfield.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah.
If not the biggest.
Yeah, I would say if somebody had somebody if somebody could name someone they liked more, I would be more like, you just don't like Buck Owens.
Yeah.
It's not because someone from Bakersfield is so much better. Because it would really, honestly, it wouldn't matter where he was from. He could be from New York City, and you could go, Buck is one of the best people from New York, or musicians ever from New York City or LA or wherever. How about this? Buck Owens is in my top 3 favorite artists ever from California.
That makes sense.
Yeah. If not top 2.
Yeah. I also heard that the Melvins are dropping a new album, Bad Moon Rising. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Bad mood rising.
Bad Bad Moon, yeah.
Mood.
Moon, yeah.
Mood. MOOD.
Oh, it's mood?
Yeah, bad
Oh,
mood
bad
rising.
mood. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
my bad.
Not moon. Everybody thinks it's moon. No, no, no. That's a Sonic Youth record. This is bad mood rising.
Okay.
That's the thing we're doing with MREP. It's coming out. We did a art version of the record first, and then take it from there. So that's just one of many things we do with AMREP, as well as records we do with Ipecac. So it's very exciting. We're going to play some of that stuff on this tour. So looking forward to all of that.
What can people expect from your live shows?
Well, expect nothing, and you can be pleasantly surprised. um, we do our best out there. By the time we get to Bakersfield, we'll have played. That'll be our third show in the tour, so we should have it down pretty good by then. You'd like to think. So it'll be a good cross section of old and new stuff. We're not ones to forget our roots, as well as play newer stuff as well. So that's what it'll be.
Having influenced a number of bands, including the grunge scene, what was it like working with Kurt Cobain and Fecal Matter?
No, that was a lot of fun. I think it might have been the first thing he ever did. Might have been. Actually, I don't know if I was in that. Fecal Matter. I'm not sure if that's. I think it might have been Crover. Me and him did something earlier than that called Brown Towel. That I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, Fecal Matter. No, I don't think I had anything to do with that.
Okay.
But that was a long time ago, and it all kind of blurs together. Dale and I, the drummer, will go, well, we know such and such happened, but did I do that? Did I say that, or did you? It's hard to remember. Yeah. It was fun. I mean, the whole thing with him is tragic. I mean, it ended so badly, and with all the horrible stuff and horrible people surrounding him. I don't have a lot of fond memories of that. And the ones that I do are severely diminished as a result of the tragic nature of the entire event.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So would it have been kind of like the Nevermind years that kind of like got him into trouble, or was it before then? Because
You mean drug wise?
no, I mean kind of like being surrounded by people that were probably, not good for him.
Well, the drugs were the main problem. You get rid of the drugs, it's a different story, completely. But yeah, there certainly were a lot of people that I was no friend to, and they were certainly not friends to me. That were surrounding him, that were collecting a percentage, one form or another. I had very little interest in any of them, and still don't. And they certainly had no interest in us, and the Nirvana guys were pretty affected by that as well. I think that they started believing in that sort of thing much more than they probably should have. Those people were certainly not around at the beginning of any of that stuff, and certainly weren't in any way responsible for their success, but nonetheless were there collecting paychecks, and certainly saw no reason to believe that we had any importance in any of that stuff at all. And when you get put in your place like that by a bunch of assholes, then it tends to sour the entire experience for you. And I hate those people to this day. So,
Makes sense.
yeah. I would accept an apology at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. That it was definitely a whole tragic thing. Yeah.
What was that?
Just a very tragic situation with all that.
Oh, that kind of stuff, it comes from the top down. So that's the people they hired. So who do you blame, really?
It's true.
I don't have to like those people. Just because you hire them doesn't mean I have to like them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you treat me good, then we'll be fine. If you don't, then I'm your enemy, as it should be.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know you. You haven't treated me bad, so far so good.
I appreciate that. Is there anything else that you'd like people to know about the Melvins that we haven't talked about?
Um, I think there's a straight line between Jerry Lee Lewis, Jim Morrison, Iggy Pop, and Johnny Rotten, and trying to move on from that. Be the next type of thing. Jerry Lee Lewis to start the whole thing. If I could be a tenth as intense as he is, then I think I've done the job. I've done a job well done, and he's still alive.
Yeah.
He's outlived them all. Go figure.
Yeah, very true. I was kind of wondering, each Melvins record is kind of a little bit different than the next. You use different influences. Sometimes it's like really heavy. Sometimes it could be a little bit light, and sometimes you add a little bit of electronic elements with some.
Yeah.
How do you decide which album is going to be like which? Is it kind of like when you're writing the songs, do you kind of have a feel to it, or do you kind of decide a little bit beforehand, or?
Well, I don't like doing too much of the same stuff. Although it's difficult not to be influenced by yourself. But we're not afraid to do different kinds of things. And a lot of people think, oh, they've just done one thing. Well, they haven't listened to our records. We've done a lot of records, and but most people won't listen to all of them. That's for sure. Uh-oh, big trouble. They'll only be influenced by the stuff that they hear. So then they'll think, oh, their new stuff's not as good as their old stuff. It's like, whatever, that always happens. I can't let that concern me. I just have to move forward and do what I'm going to do. I think there might be a polar bear outside. Our dogs are warning us. Or maybe it's
bear in LA.
the new Charles Manson crawling through the window with a knife in his teeth. Maybe.
Well,
good. All I can say about that is good dog.
yeah.